Alright, what is up guys, it is Storm back here with another video, and in this one I am bringing you part 40 to the Golden Fox and Naruto story. But before we begin, if you like the content you're seeing, then be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I mean, they're all free, so why not? If you want some channel merch, which looks really awesome, then the link will be down in the description below, or you can just go to the store tab. If you like horror or the anime ReZero, go check out my other channels. I just recently uploaded a new ReZero video. Links will be down in the description below. If you want to see more of me, go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, which will also be linked down below. But with all that out of the way, why don't we just dive right on in. 32 years ago, 12 miles north of Rain, Onkisato, or Grace Village as it was known, existed on the border of Kusa and Ame. Grace was a peaceful village by many standards. Muzan Hyakuya was a simple farmer in his mid-30s married to Ashitaba Hyakuya, who ran a local shop and had 3 lovely kids. A 6-year-old boy named Aisu, a 5-year-old girl named Samui, and another boy named Reiki, who was 3 years old. The family house was relatively small. The children shared a room while their parents had their own room. Grace was not an economically prosperous village by any stretch of the imagination. Most of the citizens belonged to villages in Rain and Grass that were destroyed by the Shinobi War. It was a town full of refugees with the hopes of living peacefully. Well, as peaceful as they could in a time of war. It was a nice day outside and Muzan had just finished planting some seeds. Heading towards his house, he saw Aisu, Samui, and Reiki playing in a field. He smiled at seeing his kids play. Aisu ran towards his father with his siblings trailing. "Father! Father!" Aisu yelled out. "Yes, Aisu? Father, you said you were going to take us into town to get some sweets. Can you please take us?" Muzan looked at all 3 who gave him the puppy dog eyes. "I would, but your mother probably would say that's a great idea. In fact, let's go out to eat as a family," Ashitaba suggested. Aisu pumped and the other kids pumped their fists in success. The happy family headed into town to get something to eat. While in town at a local restaurant, the family was enjoying their meal. "You know, Aisu, school will be starting soon. You and Samui will be taking classes." "Mom, why do we have to go to school? School is so boring," Aisu complained. "Big brother Aisu's right. School is boring. I want to travel the world." "Mom, have you and Dad traveled the world?" Samui asked. A sad look appeared in Muzan's eyes. "Samui, this world is a dangerous place. The times we are in aren't safe to travel. I hope by the time you become of age, you can see the world without having to worry about seeing the ugly things that your mother and I had to see." "Like what, father?" Aisu asked. "Death, famine. Disease is widespread because of the Shinobi War. People live in fear. They fear leaving their homes and their families because they are afraid it will be the last time they'll see their loved ones. Why do these ninjas even fight? What's the point?" Muzan asked. "I don't know, honey, but everyone has their reasons for what they're doing. I'm just glad that we're here together." Ashitaba's smile faded when she saw a group of Rain Shinobi enter the establishment. Rain Shinobi were known to be ruthless and had a reputation for causing trouble. Both her and her husband nodded in agreement that it was time to leave. "Come, kids, let's get home so you can get ready for tomorrow." Aisu and his siblings got up and Muzan escorted them out. Ashitaba was on her way out, but one of the Rain Shinobi grabbed her arm. "Hey there, pretty lady. Want to have a good time?" "I'm married," she said gently, pulling her arm away from the shinobi. He forcefully grabbed her. "Bitch, don't you turn away from me. Please, stop, my children," she pleaded with the man. Muzan's attention was on the kid, so he didn't see what was going on. Aisu, however, did see what was going on. Running back into the restaurant, he yelled, "Leave my mother alone!" One of the shinobi tripped the boy. "Shut up, punk. We do what we want, you bastard." "Ain't that right, Lord Hanzo?" Aisu looked up to see a man with a snorkel on his face. The man had a menacing look. Muzan entered with his kids behind him. "Leave them alone." Hanzo's eyes moved from the boy to Muzan. He looked at the shinobi under his command who had Ashitaba pinned down. "Release her. Sit down and act civilized and just eat a nice meal. You're scaring everyone." The shinobi apologized quickly. "Sorry, Lord Hanzo." "Apologize to the lady and her family," Hanzo said. "Sorry for the trouble I've caused you," the guy said to Ashitaba, who immediately ran over to Aisu. Hanzo looked at Muzan, who rushed to his family. You should get your family out of here. Muzan nodded, quickly rushing them out of there. It only took them minutes to get home. Muzan was furious. Why are they here? Shinobi are a plague on this world. They bring nothing but death and destruction wherever they go. They all think they rule the world. Not all shinobi are bad, Muzan, and you know that. If it weren't for that blonde female medic from Konoha, I forget her name. Suane? Sukiwade? Man, I feel bad for not remembering. I would have lost you to that poison you contracted 5 years ago, Ashitaba stated. She's the exception. Muzan had nothing else to say, which is why he walked away. Ashitaba went to follow him but stopped when Aisu tugged her pant leg. Mom, father almost died? Aisu asked. Yes. You were a year old, and we were living in a village a few miles from here. The grass shinobi invaded the village. Everyone was slaughtered except us. Your father, in his attempt to protect me and you, was injured with senbon laced with poison. We were all going to die. But that female shinobi from Konoha showed up with a white-haired man, and a guy with pale skin and eyes like a snake. They saved us. But she is the one who saved your father. If all shinobi were bad, we would be dead. But that girl and her team showed me that not all shinobi are bad. Aisu understood. He didn't hate shinobi. He really didn't hate anyone. For him, it was something he really had no clue about. Aisu's mother touched his shoulder and smiled. Some shinobi fight for a better world. Some fight for peace, Aisu. Someday, this war will end, and we will have the peace that we seek. Whatever you do in life, Aisu, and this goes for you too, Samui and Reiki, make sure you do something that helps others. Okay, time to go to bed, kids. Ashitaba gathered all the kids and led them to their rooms. Tucking the kids into their beds, the blue-eyed brunette sat next to Aisu. You know that was very brave of what you did today, Aisu, but don't ever do something like that again. Those guys could have killed you. Mom, I just wanted to protect you, that's all. I don't want anyone to hurt you. Samui, even though I don't like her very much in Reiki. She laughed. That's just your sibling rivalry, but I'm glad you want to protect us, but it's my job to protect you. Kissing him on the forehead. Good night, Aisu. Good night, Mom, Aisu said as he turned around to go to sleep. Little did he know, he wouldn't be getting much sleep that night. 2 hours later, Muzan burst into his kids' room, causing them to jump up. Father, what's going on? Aisu asked, a little groggy. Those damn shinobi are burning the village to the ground. Let's go, we're leaving. Hurry and get dressed. The kids hurried to get their clothes on, rushing out of the house as soon as everyone was ready. Aisu watched as the flames were all over the village. Come, we have to hurry. Aisu watched as two kunai pierced his father's heart. Ashitaba screamed when Muzan fell dead. One of the ranged shinobi who was standing on top of the house looked down at Ashitaba with a wicked smile. Now that we took care of him, he shun-shween behind the woman and wrapped her arms around her, licking her neck. Tastes good, lady. Aisu immediately went after the guy. Leave my mom alone. The young boy was cut off by Hanzo. You have heart, kid, but you're in the way. With a swift punch to the face, Aisu was sent flying. Samui, who was crying along with Reiki, ran towards Aisu. Big brother Aisu. I have to protect Mom, Samui, and Reiki from the bad men. Aisu would never get the chance. A shinobi in his mid-teens appeared behind the kids. With a swift slash of his sword, they were sliced in half. Aisu's eyes widened as tears slowly ran down his cheek. Turning to him, the shinobi gave him a sadistic smile. Aisu couldn't move his body. He realized he was more injured than he thought. He could do nothing as the shinobi forced his mother back into the house. Mom, was his last thought before his head went limp. 9 hours later. A nightmare. Nothing more than a nightmare is what the boy thought. Feeling water droplets on his face and a slight tap from a hand, he heard the man say, He's alive. Man, this kid survived an attack by Hanzo the Salamander. He truly is lucky, he heard another voice say. True, but his family wasn't. Did you see the mutilated corpse of the woman in the house? Those words caused Aisu's eyes to come alive. Jumping up and ignoring the pain that he was in, he ran to the house, shooting past the 4-cloud shinobi to see his mother. When he arrived, he saw her naked, mutilated body on the floor. Mom. Closing his eyes and balling his fist, tears were streaming down the boy's young face. It Hurts, doesn't it, kid? I'm gonna make them all pay for this, Aisu said. How do you plan to do that? The female of the squad asked. I don't know, but they will pay, Aisu said to the red-haired cloud ninja. You seem determined to reach that goal. Do you want to train to become a shinobi, kid? The cloud shinobi asked. A shinobi? Aisu thought about it for a second. Yes, a shinobi. Without training, you will never be able to stand a chance against the man responsible for this. Kid, you can stay here and die, or come with us and become a shinobi of Cloud. What do you say? Can you help me bury my family first? The shinobi from Cloud nodded. Sure, kid. What's your name? Aisu Hyakuya. And you are? Aisu asked the man. Tosku Sucho. Pleased to meet you, Aisu. Now let's give your family a proper burial. Tosku motioned for his teammates to pick up Ashitaba's body to give her, along with the others, a proper burial. 1 hour later, Aisu was standing on the graves of his parents and siblings. I failed you all. I couldn't save you guys. I promise I won't fail again. Father, you hate shinobi, but I will become one that will change the world. Mom, I will bring forth that peace you seek. Samui and Reiki. I miss you two so much. I was a bad big brother, but I will not fail. On your graves, I will end war, and I will kill Hanzo the Salamander. Turning to Tosku, I'm ready to go, sir. Follow me, child. I will turn you into a great shinobi. Come, we're off. Aisu followed as the Cloud shinobi walked off. 5 years later, walking down a street in Cloud, a 13-year-old Aisu was proud of his accomplishment. He was now Chunin, training under the legendary Red Lightning. He was looked at as a second coming, graduating the top of his class 4 years prior. The preteen couldn't have been more than proud. He was paired up with his best friend Eugene and a girl named Aoki, whom he also saw as a best friend. More like siblings. Heading towards his team's location, he wasn't meeting up with his team. Arriving at the location, he saw Eugene, Aoki, and their Jonin sensei, Tosku, waiting for him. So what's our mission today, sensei? Aisu asked. Today, we will be venturing off into Rain Country, Tosku stated. Aisu's look became grin. Sensei, do you mind if I... Depends on how much time we have after the mission. We will invade one of the shinobi hideouts in Rain, and eliminate all enemy ninjas. Our team has become effective with this type of mission, which is why the Raikage has selected us, the red-haired shinobi stated. Aisu, who was in his standard Cloud Chunin/Jonin uniform, put his head down. He was feeling a mixed number of emotions. Aisu hated the Rain shinobi with a passion. Well, not all Rain shinobi, just Hanzo. He was getting closer to his goal, and knew that one day, he was going to be the one to end that man's life. He was a Cloud shinobi, and he couldn't let this bother him. He had a mission that he needed to complete. Looking up at his squad, let's go, we have a job to do. Tosku smiled. Squad Red, move out. The group disappeared in a blur. 2 days later, Aisu and his group entered Rain Country. The rain that seemed to be ever present was exactly why it was named Rain. Getting to the base would be easy enough. Squad Red was known for their efficiency when it came to missions. The group was slowly approaching the base in Rain. The blue-eyed Chunin slowly pulled out his kunai as he and his team stood in front of the entrance. With Aisu on the right, and Eugene on the left, the squad was in formation. The two nodded confirmation from their sensei and Aoki, who was in the back of the compound. I'm in position. I'm in position as well, Aisu replied. I'm in position as well. How about you, sensei? The lack of a response in Eugene's communicator confirmed that their sensei was in position. Aisu rolled a ball inside of the compound. Upon exploding and causing a cloud of smoke, he kicked the door open and was the first to enter the compound, followed by Eugene. What the hell is going was the last sound that escaped the shinobi's mouth, as Aisu slit his throat with a kunai in his hand. Eugene slayed 2 Rain Ninja with a senbon he threw into their necks. The 2 shinobi were operating on sound alone, and were eliminating their targets with the greatest of ease. Both were now back to back. Aisu spoke into his communication device. Front secure. Rear secure, Aoki said in Aisu's ear. I have the package. Let's move out. Hearing their sensei, The group was gone from the location in an instant. 11 shinobi lay dead in the one-story base. With their assignment complete, the group was heading back to Cloud. Aisu, however, wanted to take a detour. I'll meet you guys back in Cloud. I have some business that I need to take care of. Wait, Aisu, I'll go with you, Yujin said. No, this is something that he must do by himself, Tosuke informed the boy. Aisu, you have a week. You know Cloud has strict policies about leaving the country while not conducting a mission. Don't worry, Sensei. I'll be back before then. Later, guys. Aisu separated himself from the group and headed towards Grace Village. He headed towards home. 2.5 hours later, Aisu was walking in the burned-down village of Grace. The desolated area reminded him of that day his family was ripped from him. A gust of wind blew, causing his cheek-length hair to cover his eyes. I'm home, he thought. His feet started to move. Walking through Grace, which was now a ghost town, helped him reinforce his goal of ending war and stopping Hanzo and shinobi like him. It didn't take him long to reach his house, which was falling apart due to being abandoned for years. Looking to his right, he saw the graves he created for his family. Slowly approaching the graves, he stopped in front of them. Examining each grave, he closed his eyes. It's been a long time. I'm sorry that I couldn't visit you guys sooner, but my shinobi training has caused me to be neglectful. I've come a long way, and I'm no longer a helpless child. I only wish I had the skills I have now back then. I could have saved you all. Father, I know you don't like shinobi, but the Cloud Village is a good village. I fight to ensure that peace is kept throughout the region. I'm only a mid-level shinobi, but I'll be promoted to Jonin in no time. I have friends now, Yujin and Aoki, whom I consider my brother and sister. Smiling, he turned to his mother's headstone. Tosuke's like a father to me, and his wife Misha is like a mother. I guess you can say I found my second family. Rest assured that they have not and will never replace you guys. I will never forget any of you. To honor your legacy, I'll be sure to exact justice on your killers. Dobu, Niyabi, Hosui, Yokoburi, Ryu, Senu, Mizuno, Rakusa, and Hanzo, the salamander. I will kill them all with my own hands. Till we meet again, goodbye, everyone. Turning away, the young Chunin walked away from his family and never looked back. He would head back to Cloud, or at least that's what he intended to do until he saw his sensei's messenger bird. What's going on now? Taking the message from the bird, the boy read the note. So we've been assigned a mission to Fire Country this quick. Must be something important. Exiting the village, the Cloud Ninja headed towards the Fire Country to meet up with his squad. 1 day later, Icy finally caught up with the squad at the rendezvous point. Hey guys, can someone brief me? On our way back to Cloud, we ran into Alpha Squadron who needed our aid in Fire Country. A few Mishinobi in this region have captured some of our comrades, and we wish to retrieve them before they wind up in Water Country. Squad Red Strike. We will lend our support. Aisu, you'll be going with Misora, Hana, and Sodai. Gizo, you'll be accompanying me, Yujin, and Aoki. Let's head out. When we have the information and the location, let's regroup and plan our counter-strike. Move out! Everyone nodded. Aisu moved out with the squad he was assigned to. He was glad to be in Hana's squad. The female with long, flowing, silky black hair and gray eyes captivated the young Chunin. The crush was a mutual feeling as the girl's cheeks turned red when he glanced at her. Let's do our best, Hana. Sure, Aisu. Sodai narrowed his eyes at Aisu. He didn't like him at all. 1. He received so much praise from all of the other shinobi. And 2. Hana liked him. This guy was stealing his thunder. He wouldn't worry about that now. He had a mission that they needed to complete, and that came first. He would take up issues with the golden boy another day. After an hour or so, Misora motioned for the group to stop. It seems we have appeared. Our goal is to subdue the enemy. We will need to extract information out of them, and save our comrades at the same time. Aisu spoke. Misora-sensei, I recommend that we stay here and send a messenger hawk to the others. This way, we will not lose the enemy if they decide to move. That's stupid, Aisu. The enemy will see the hawk and notes from us. There's no way it will work. Sure it will, but it really doesn't need to be a hawk. Sensei, could you use one of your summons and have them locate Tosuke and the others? Misora smiled at the boy. Sure. Summoning a squirrel, he looked at the squirrel. Find Tosuke and inform him of our location. If we move, follow the trail. The squirrel was off. Misora turned to Aisu. Good move, Aisu. I see why Tosuke praises you highly. Sodai just frowned at his sensei's acknowledgement of Aisu. Hana looked at Aisu. That was very smart of you, Aisu. Thanks, Hana, but we still have to save our comrades. It only took about 5 minutes before Tosuke and the others landed next to Aisu. So, you guys found them. What's your next move? Aisu spoke. There are 6 shinobi patrolling the grounds. It's hard to deduce how many are in the hut, but I would say since 3 of our comrades are captured, I would say there are 4 in the tent with them. So, what course of action should we take? Tosuke asked the boy. Well, if it was just us, I would recommend that Eugene and you get close to the compound while me and Aoki provide support from a distance, Aisu stated. How would that work? You guys would be slaughtered. Sodai couldn't believe that everyone hailed this kid as the next coming of the Red Lightning. He was an idiot and he was going to prove that to everyone, especially Hana. Simple. Eugene is a master at silent killing. With him entering through the back and taking down the shinobi before they know it hit them, it would give us the tactical advantage. Sensei would have provided support to Eugene in case the enemies were more skilled. If that fell apart and they were discovered, the shinobi wouldn't see them as much of a threat since it was only 2. That's where Aoki and I come in, staying back and striking at the right time. We would have eliminated the threat in the most effective and efficient manner. That would have worked if it was just 10 to 13 shinobi down there. However, Aisu closed his eyes and smiled. However what? However, there are more shinobi, and we're completely surrounded. Sodai didn't believe Aisu until the entire enemy shinobi squad surrounded them completely. Looks like a bunch of class shinobi trying to save their friends. What a pity. Let's kill them. One of the mist shinobi nodded, preparing to shield themselves for the attack. They were ready to defend their lives. However, the 12 shinobi that surrounded the group found that they couldn't move. Looking at their feet, they noticed that wire was holding them in place. Aisu turned in mud, causing everyone to be surprised. Sunbone needles were implanted into the necks of each shinobi, causing them to fall to the ground. Misora smiled. Good job, Aisu. Your clone worked and you had the time to warn the others to stay back. Excellent deduction. You mean that I was talking to a clone? Sodai said in anger. Sorry, Sodai. The real Aisu and the rest of Team Red Strike appeared. But I noticed that we were surrounded the moment we landed. I made a clone during the summon. The smoke allowed me the window I needed to warn the others. Surprise is a key element in a shinobi's arsenal. But even more, we now have the advantage of the enemy. They gave it to us the moment they played this hand. What advantage do you mean, Aisu? Hana asked. We can transform ourselves into these shinobi and infiltrate the base. This will allow us to get close to our comrades without doing battle unnecessarily. Come, let's go everyone. The group selected a shinobi to transform into from the defeated shinobi. The transformed group entered the base and greeted their fake comrades. Aisu motioned for Sodai and Hana to head to the tent with them. Approaching the tent, Aisu spoke. We've come to relieve you guys early of your duty. You guys are early, but I won't stop you if you want to take over early. Don't mention it. They're preparing some food out there if you guys want to go and get some. The shinobi rushed outside only to be welcomed to a haze of smoke that caused them to fall to the ground. Aisu transformed back into himself. Check for any major injuries. If we don't find any, grab someone and move out. Following Aisu, the group did exactly as they were told. Finding no injuries of significance, Aisu and the others moved out. The others caught up immediately. Alright everyone, let's head back home, Tosuke stated as he had an enemy ninja draped over his shoulder. The group came to a stop when Aisu stopped. Looking around, he frowned. We're surrounded again. Sodai pulled out a kunai. Looks like we're fighting our way out of this. Slipping into a fighting stance, Aoki did the same as well. Eugene had a handful of senbon needles in his hand ready for an attack. The group, however, was surprised to see a number of cloud shinobi emerge from the trees. What's going on? The young Aisu asked. The Jonin qualification exams, Aisu. You've passed with flying colors. Aisu turned to his sensei. You mean this is nothing more than a test for us? Aisu asked. Misora responded. Yes, I must say you did excellent, kid. You are Jonin material without question. The rest of you, unfortunately, did well, but I didn't see anything that screamed Jonin. Don't get down. You'll all be tested when you least expect it. Come on, let's head home. A number of shinobi from Cloud walked up and congratulated his accomplishment. What's with the big deal? We helped as well, Soda said with resentment. Yeah, but the majority of it was Icy's plan. That's my best friend for you. Always knows what to do in a pinch. Grabbing Soda in a friendly manner. Let's head back. Everyone took off back home to Cloud. 4 years passed. 17 years of age, and Aisu was more than an accomplished shinobi of Cloud. He had everything anyone could want. He had respect, friends, and everything shinobi in his position could want. Yujin, Aoki, Sodai, Gizo, and Hana were all Jonins now. It was a sunny day, and Aisu was sitting on top of a building in Cloud. His sensei and Misora were now the parents of a beautiful girl named Kumoko. A lot has happened in the past 4 years. He became a Jonin, the cloud stealing the 5 tails within Koen Nensho, the child of the 3rd Raikage, Kaisei Nensho. It was actually Nensho who sealed the demon within his son after the demon attacked Cloud. Koen wondered what would cause the attack, but really didn't have time to worry about it. The boy was hated by most of the villagers, but Aisu didn't hate the child. How could he hate someone who had no control over his fate? He did, however, feel sorry for the boy. His own parents treated him with hate and discontent, but his power will protect our village, saying that the mist sealed the 8 tails inside our girl 1 year ago. All this preparation in building ultimate weapons. I really have to do something that will stop this. These wars seem to have no end in sight, and I'm not strong enough to do anything that will end it myself. But I will be soon enough. Aisu was broken in his thoughts when soft arms wrapped around him. He smiled, knowing it was his beautiful Hana. Hana, how are you? Good, I hear you have a solo mission near Grass Country. Are you going to visit your family while there? She asked. I can't stand before them. Until I achieve my goals, Hana. I still need to get stronger. You know, I've been reading, and I happened to stumble upon the 4 swords of legend. These swords have been believed to be used to usher in an era of peace in the world. One of the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru, wields Kusanagi. Heaven's Blade is wielded by members of the Minato clan, and its current wielder is a guy named Ryuho Minato. He is considered to be the strongest warrior in the world, which begs the question, why doesn't he help end the war? In any event, the other 2 swords, Dragon's Fang and Phoenix Claw, are swords part of the mythical contracts. My mission is one that I requested, Hana. For the last year, I've been studying about these contracts, trying to find the location. I still don't know the location either, but I do have leads in the Dragon's Den. I promise I will find it, and come back stronger, Aisu said with confidence. You better come back to me, Aisu. I love the fact that you want to bring peace to the world. This world needs more people like you. I'm sure your parents are proud. You should get going, Aisu. Come back 10 times stronger, okay? Hana kissed him on the cheek. I love you, and then left him to himself. I love you too, Hana. I promise I'll come back stronger, he said as she walked away. Aisu looked up in the sky. I will find the dragon's lair. 3 days later, Aisu, who was dressed in the typical Jonin outfit minus the vest, was lost. He knew that he was in enemy territory, but it didn't matter. He was an accomplished shinobi who could defend himself. This seems hopeless. According to my research, it said that the lair was near Taoguchi near. But if that's true, then... Suddenly, Aisu realized something. Pulling out the map, he looked at it again. That's right! Taoguchi advanced their civilization and spread it into... He now realized where he was at. In Fire Country. I'm in Fire Country. I have to be careful. Konoha shinobi are strong. I can't think about that. I have to find that lair. Aisu continued on his track to find the lair. 5 days later. Aisu, who was still searching for the lair, was getting low on supplies. Fuck this. It's nothing more than a myth. No, it has to be true. I didn't waste all this time combing this mountain range for nothing. Kicking a rock, Aisu fell at least 6 stories into the mountain, hitting the ground with a loud thud. The young Jonin was even more pissed. The anger soon faded when he looked around to see lamps decorating the hallway that had dragon carvings. A noise caught his attention. When he looked up, he saw that the hole that he fell from closed. Standing up, he finally realized where he was at. I made it. It didn't take him long to figure out what direction he needed to go. Walking towards the big golden doors with the dueling dragons, Aisu took a deep breath before pushing the door open. Upon entering the room, the doors closed behind him immediately. He also noticed the hundreds of human bones that decorated the floor. Looking straight ahead, he saw a large lake of black fire. He didn't have time to be amazed. Fire shot from the lake and multiple dragons emerged, flying all over the large room encircling him. The dragons started to talk. Looks like we have another victim. So it would seem, another weakling. Shall we kill him and get it over with now? He might be the one. Soros will decide that. Aisu was slightly scared, but he remembered his resolve and all of his fear instantly dissolved. Please, I need to know how I can obtain the contract of the dragons. Whatever test I have to endure, I will. Why? Want power to kill. Want power to rule. Our power is only for the strong, not the weak. We should tear you apart right now. Let's do it. Kill him. The dragons surrounded Aisu. Opening their mouths, he could see a glow coming from the insides. He didn't know what to expect, but he knew it wouldn't be good. However, he heard a commanding voice. You will do no such thing. Not until I say so. Aisu turned to where he heard the sound, only to see an enormous black dragon with glowing crimson eyes. You've come here for my contract, did you not? Well, child, if you want it, you must do one thing. And that one thing is, you must stay alive. Aisu didn't know what to expect until one of the dragons went through his body. The room filled with dragons ripping through his body. He didn't know how much longer he could hold out, but he would have to if he wanted to become the next wielder. 2 days later, Aisu was on his knees breathing hard. Soros knew the boy couldn't take much more, but he did admire his courage. Why, child? Why do you wish to wield my power so much? Using what energy, he had to look up. I want to change the world. I promised my parents that I would end war. Wars happen. As long as men have disputes, there will be war, child. You're one man. What do you hope to accomplish? Soros asked. I hope. No. I will bring an end to all of the suffering. I don't want to see anyone lose their loved ones like I have. I will. Aisu collapsed. Soros smiled at the boy. Very well, child. I'll see how far this crusade of yours goes, and where it will end up. I will lend you my power and all of my abilities. It's been a while since someone worthy came along to wield the contract. Seems like it's a new era. Xenos has informed me that he was taking on a 12-year-old boy. The younger generation seems to be smarter than its predecessor. Aisu, you will be known as the wielder of the dragons. A black flame engulfed the young shinobi. When the flame died down, there was a tribal dragon tattoo on his left arm. It was now official. Aisu was the wielder of the dragons. 2 years later, a proud shinobi of the cloud Aisu was. Now of 19 years of age, he was stronger, better than what he was once before. He had a 0% failure rate as far as missions went. The young Jonin led a number of successful campaigns in earth, wind, and fire. Walking down the street, he could hear one of the younger shinobi whisper, "That's Lord Aisu. Papa told me he's one of the strongest in the village." Aisu didn't really care about being the strongest in Cloud. He wanted to be the strongest in the world, but he would have to contend with a number of people for that title. Konoha's Yellow Flash, Hanzo, the Sannin, and his own sensei, not to mention the Kages of each village. He wasn't arrogant, and he knew what he could do and could not do. Aisu, what's going on, bro? Eugene greeted his friend. Nothing much, Eugene. Already ready. By the way, where are Aoki and Sodai? Shrugging. Who knows, but they better hurry. I want to get this mission over with since it's our last mission for a while. This is gonna be great when we get back, some R&R with the girls. Hana should be back from her mission today, right? Yeah, she should be back today. In any event, let's move out. Aoki and Sodai are waiting. Both shinobi who are walking to the village's exit saw the two leaning against the wall. Ready, Aisu? Sodai asked. Yes, let's go. The group headed out. Grass country. 4 days later. The objective of the mission was simple. Well, at least Aisu thought so. Gather intelligence on the rain and rock forces in this region, and report to the Raikage and their findings. Aisu suspected that it would be used for future attacks. That much he was certain of. What he didn't expect while heading home was witnessing another village getting burned to the ground before him. Looking from the mountain range from which he and the others stood, Rain Shinobi, no doubt. Not again. I will not let this happen again. A trigger snapped in Aisu when he saw the village being burned to the ground, which caused him to take off towards the village. What the hell's his problem? Villages getting burned to the ground all the time is not our problem. Aoki shook her head. You know nothing of Aisu, do you? She took off after her friend. Eugene placed his hand on Sodai's shoulder. Aisu witnessed both his family and his village being burned to the ground by Rain Shinobi. Understand that he is doing this so no one will know the pain he carries inside of him every day. It may be a detour, but I won't leave a comrade behind, so I guess I'm gonna help him avert this crisis as soon as possible. Eugene took off towards the village. Sodai really didn't like Aisu at all. A shinobi shouldn't have any feelings. He isn't worthy of being a cloud shinobi. Even though he didn't like the group, he took off after them. A few minutes later, inside the village, Aisu's goal was to help the survivors. He was saving people that were trapped in buildings and other establishments that were on fire. Sodai, Aoki, and Eugene were all by his side, stumbling out from an alleyway. Aisu saw a man with a kunai in his chest fall to the ground. Visage brought back memories of his father and the man that killed him. He's here, Aisu said to himself. He assumed correctly. Appearing on a roof above Aisu and his group were 11 rain ninja. Aisu immediately recognized the one in the middle, the man who was apparently the leader of the group. It was the same man that killed his father. What do we have here? A bunch of cloud ninjas. You're a ways from home, you know. We're going to kill you all. I hope you know that. Ryu Seno. Tonight is the night you atone for what you did 13 years ago. I will not show you Dobu Niyabi, Hosui Yokuburi, Mizuni Rakusa, or Hanzo the Salamander any mercy. I will kill you all. Aisu informed the man while glaring at him. One of the rain ninja tapped the shoulder-length, silver-haired, blue-eyed Jonin. Who the hell is this kid? And why does he want you dead along with those he mentioned? Who knows? Maybe it's vengeance, but for a brat to think he can win against the likes of me is absurd. Kill everyone except for him. He's mine. Motioning for his soldiers to attack, they took off after Sodai, Aoki, and Eugene. Aisu didn't hesitate with attacking Ryu. Both engaged in a kunai duel. Aisu's speed, agility, and cunning were too much for Ryu, and after 5 minutes of dueling, he delivered a crucial attack with a deep cut to his stomach. Landing on a burning rooftop, Aisu walked towards Ryu slowly. People like you make me sick. The day you and your band of hooligans took my family away, I made a vow that I would kill you all. Know this, Ryu. You are going to die. That much is inevitable. Ryu started laughing. Sure, you can kill me, but what about your friends? That girl is going to be killed, and so are those two boys. You can make a choice. Me or them. Aisu's fist clenched as he watched his group getting overwhelmed. This isn't over between us, Ryu. Your fate has been decided. Pray we don't meet again. Aisu took off to aid his friends. Rain Shinobi jumped out of the way and Aisu was standing in a defensive position. Now that we've regrouped, want to try attacking us again? Ryu smiled as he stood. And the child is more foolish than he looks. You should have killed me, kid. At least your friends would still be alive. What the hell are you talking about? When Ryu threw a kunai at the ground a few yards away from Aisu, it caused a number of balls to fly into the air. Aisu and the others didn't know what to expect, but when they exploded, numerous kunai and shuriken erupted from them. Oh no. No one in the village had time to counter. It was already done. The women, children, and men could not avoid being victims. Pierced in the back, neck, eyes, stomach were just some of the body parts that were hit, causing many to fall to their deaths. Aisu's speed and agility allowed him to avoid the weapons, but not injury. As good as he was, even he obtained injuries. Nothing deadly, but significant nonetheless. Bastard. Hey guys, are you alright? Aisu's eyes expanded when he saw Eugene and Aoki riddled with kunai, sunbone, and shuriken. Sodai was hit as well. Ignoring his pain, he rushed to the two people he considered brother and sister. Aoki, Eugene, Sodai! Aoki looked up and smiled. Sorry, Aisu, but I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't think I will either, Aisu. I'm sorry we couldn't be of any help to you, Eugene said. Come on guys, you're gonna make it. You can't die on me. I never wanted this to happen. Please guys, don't leave me. You two are my family. Aisu stated as tears were beginning to fill in his eyes. Sorry, bro. I just can't hold on. Just make sure you kick his ass for me, bro. One time for... Eugene's eyes rolled in the back of his head. He was dead. Eugene, you can't die on me, you bastard. Wake up. Wake up. Tears ran down Aisu's cheek. He felt a hand lightly wrap around his wrist. Don't worry about us, Aisu. I'll take care of him. Just make sure you fulfill your dream and end war. You've always been the stronger of us, and I have no doubt that you will succeed in your quest. You can. Aoki's wrist went limp as it hit the ground. Aisu lost it and let out a scream. Turning to see if Sodai was alive, he tapped him. Sodai, are you okay? Yeah, somehow I'm okay, Aisu. We have to take their bodies back or burn it. Seeing as how injured we are, I suggest that we're taking them back. Aisu's anger was evident in his tone. Aisu, those shinobi might come back, and if they do, we won't survive. They'll be able to retrieve our bodies and analyze them, giving them the advantage over our village. We can't allow... Aisu cut him off again. What part did you not understand that we're taking them back? I'll carry them both if I have to, but they are going home. Aisu bent down to pick up his two friends. He looked up at Sodai when he saw him reach for Eugene. I'll carry him. Let's go. The two surviving shinobi headed home with their deceased comrades. Cloud Village, a month later. Aisu was still grieving over the loss of his family. His two best friends were dead. When he and Sodai returned to the village, they were taken to the hospital immediately. In between the month and his mourning, Sodai presented the report of the mission a few days after they came back. His actions brought him before the Raikage and the council. The meeting was short and to the point. Aisu was placed on probation for his actions. Even though they got the information they required, contact with the enemy just made the mission pointless. The enemy would now have time to prepare for whatever came their way. He was blamed for the continuation of the war. Walking on the streets with the meeting playing in his head, he was kicking himself for his actions. Because of his actions, his friends were dead, and he was the reason why the war was still going on. At least that's what the Raikage made it seem like. He could feel the cold stares from his colleagues and the village populace. Everyone wanted this war to end, and the Raikage made it seem like it was all his fault. The only person who didn't think so was Hana. Aisu looked up when Sodai landed in front of him. Aisu, the Raikage would like to take you on a mission in Rice Country, looking for a way to redeem yourself. Here's your chance. Aisu grabbed the envelope that was given to him and opened it to read the contents. I can earn my honor back and help end this war. Thanks, Sodai. You're a good friend. Of course I am. Now get going. I'll tell Hana that you are called away. Aisu ran off to meet up with the group he was to head out with. End of flashback. Redemption. Looking in your eyes tells me you know what it's like, Naruto. Aisu said with a smile. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. In any event, what happened? You went from a peace-seeking guy to a warhawk. What got you to this point? Flashback. 4 years later. 4 years had passed since Aisu left for that mission, which would keep him away from the village. During those 4 years, Aisu met and trained with Dansei Kagai. Aisu could feel that this man had evil intentions, but he did agree with him on certain aspects of life. However, he knew that he would one day have to stop this man. Learning formidable sword styles allowed him to train with the Dragon's Fang for a year in this time frame. He figured he'd get the training and move on, which he did. After his training, he went after all the people on his list, the ones who murdered his family. Slowly but slowly, famous range shinobi were turning up dead. His goal would slowly bring him to the one shinobi that he hated above all, Hanzo, the salamander. The battle was intense, but Aisu eventually showed who was the more skilled shinobi of the two, when he claimed Hanzo's head. It had been a long time since he was home, and knew that probably a lot had changed since he was gone. It didn't matter. He would finally get a chance to work towards his other goal, since he had avenged his family. Walking to the gate with Hanzo's head in his hand, the guards stopped him at the village entrance. They, however, let him pass when they saw the headband. Aisu, who was in a black hooded cloak, headed towards the Raikage's office. He requested an audience with the village leader, which was granted seeing as he did have Hanzo's head in his hand. Upon entering the office, he was shocked to see Sodai sitting in the seat. "So, you're the Raikage now. What happened to the third?" Sodai recognized the voice. "Is that you, Aisu?" Aisu removed the hood and dropped Hanzo's head in the desk. "I'm sorry that it took me so long to return it, but it did take me a while to heal. When I did, I decided that in order to redeem myself, I had to bring the head of Hanzo the salamander to the village, showing my loyalty, love for the village, and dedication to bring an end to war. I hope this will help." "This does help greatly, Aisu. It's been a long time, friend. Welcome back." Soda stood up and embraced his friend in a hug. "Now, let's bring you before the council and have you reinstated." 2 days later, Aisu was walking down the street when he noticed someone he hadn't seen in a while. "Big sister Miss Sora, long time no see." "Aisu, is that really you? Wow, look at you. I thought you were dead. It's really good to see you." "It's good to see you too. Do you know where Tosuku-sensei is?" "I haven't seen him yet, and I was kind of looking for him." Misora, who was standing next to a little Komoko, cast her gaze downwards to Komoko. "Komoko, I want you to go ahead and meet me at the store. I'll catch up." The little girl nodded and ran off. She turned her gaze back to Aisu. "He left us to pursue a dream. He said that it would benefit us all in the end, but I don't know what he meant. He was talking crazy the night he left. Something about the dawn was coming and it would shed light on this dark world. You didn't hear this from me, but source indicates that he's now a member of a group of rogue shinobi by the name of the Akatsuki. I can't believe he left us." "Well, let me not talk your ear off. I have to go. Take care of yourself, Aisu." As Misora walked off, Aisu couldn't believe what he was hearing. Tosuku left Cloud. Something didn't add up. He would worry about that later. He needed to see Hana. It didn't take him long to find her with a few people, whom he recognized as shinobi, but he decided not to say anything. One of the male shinobi turned around and pointed at Aisu. "Hey, why the hell is that loser looking at us?" Hana turned to see who her friend was referring to. She immediately dropped the drink that was in her hand when her eyes landed on Aisu. The two stared at one another without saying anything for minutes. An hour later, sitting on the roof of his apartment building, Aisu explained to Hana all that happened. "So, that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years. You finally fulfilled the promise you made to your family after all. So, what happens now?" she asked. "I don't know. This world is still not free from war, so that will continue to be one of my goals. The other is to make up for the time that we were separated. Before you say anything, just know I don't expect to pick up where we left off. That would be crazy. I want to take it slow and let it build so in time we can have what we had." Hana stood up and walked to the edge of the roof. "What makes you think that I wouldn't want to pick up where we left off? I told you once that I loved you, Aisu, and that didn't change in 4 years. I will admit that these 4 years have been the hardest 4 years of my life, but in no way I would want to keep you out of my life any longer than necessary. You do have a lot of making up to do, Aisu, and you can start by requesting a few months off from active duty. Standing up. Meet me back here at 8. I'll go talk to Sodai. Aisu disappeared in black flames, leaving behind a smiling Hana. Welcome home, Aisu. 5 years passed. The years really flew by. In between the 5 years that had passed, Aisu and Hana were now parents to a beautiful 2-year-old boy they named Rado. He was the leader of a Genin squad, which consisted of Koen, Komoko, and Kadon. He was gaining respect, slowly. Aisu was happy with his life. The 5 years wasn't without its woes. He did run into the Akatsuki, Itachi Uchiha, and Kisame Hoshigaki, and did battle with the feared Uchiha. The group was after Koen, but the battle between Aisu and Itachi never really did have a victor as both fled. He would later find out that it was his sensei, who was the leader of the organization that had ordered them to back down. A Jonin leader was asked by his former Jonin sensei to join the organization, but he turned down the request. He wondered why Komoko's father didn't attack him then. Maybe it was because he was protecting his daughter, or he still saw him as a son, but he knew that the time would come when he would have to face his sensei, and the strong shinobis of that organization. Knowing that he would have to do battle with the Akatsuki in the future, he knew that he had to get stronger. Also in those 5 years, he was starting to look at Sodai in a different light. 2 years ago, he was sent on a mission to kill a rogue samurai whom Sodai had informed him was planning a war. It wasn't until just recently he came from a mission to retrieve a missing ninja that he encountered the wielder of the Phoenix contract, the same guy who almost killed him 9 years prior. He wondered why he came at him with such contempt, and Senzuru revealed to him that he was responsible for the death of his master. Aisu often wondered when he killed Senzuru Sensei, if it was the right thing to do. He finally realized that it was a mistake, and Sodai was to blame. His trust and faith in Sodai was lacking. Not only in Sodai was he losing faith, but the rest of the village council as well. After his encounter with Senzuru, he studied up on many of the legendary sword styles. Heavenly Sword was among the best, which he already knew. Wicked Wind, which he knew was derived from a Heavenly Sword, was also something he knew. What he didn't know was the Divine Wrath, which was another style derived from the Heavenly Sword. What was also shocking was that the man he killed was in fact the only person in the entire world who was believed to know it. Why would you have me kill someone that studied and mastered a sword style that promotes peace? Sodai, you bastard. A year would pass as Aisu started piecing more things together that added up over the years. Something was amiss, and he would find out why. Also, he was wondering why people were fearing him instead of respecting him. Many of the villagers in the shinobi populace feared him for reasons he couldn't understand. That is until he heard a little girl whisper to her friend. Papa said that he is a danger to the village. He's the man that controls dragons, something no human has ever done. That's why he's the one who came to tame the demon Koen. Aisu shook his head. I'm more feared than a Jinchuriki. How is that possible? My whole goal was to protect everyone and make life better. Trying to turn everyone against me. I see. So it's come to this. Upon entering the Raikage Tower, he was informed the Raikage was in a meeting with the council. Walking towards the meeting hall, Aisu was confronted by 2 shinobi guards who stood in his way. He asked them to move nicely, but they didn't comply with his request. In doing so, they were knocked unconscious without effort. Opening the doors to the council hall, he stepped in, glaring at Sodai. You. How could you? How could I what? Sodai said calmly. I thought we were friends, but this whole time, you've been trying to make me look like a bad guy. You purposely had me kill Gogu Taizan, and for what reason? To protect the village. Is that not what you want? Sodai encountered. Protect the village. You did it knowing that he trained the wielder of the Phoenix contract. If I had to guess, you were hoping that we killed one another. It's not only that, why would you assign me to a team with Koen on it? You're a strong shinobi, and I thought under your tutelage that... Cut this shit, Sodai. You did it because you knew of the Akatsuki. You knew they would target the boy, and in doing so would take me out of the picture. None of you here particularly care for the boy, so him dying is no issue to you. Hell, my death isn't either. I'm starting to see things for what they really are. This village thrives on war. For someone like you, I am a threat because I want to end it. You talk about ending war and looking for a better way. But all of you sit here thinking of ways to constantly get the upper hand over the other nations. If what happened 5 years ago with the Hyuga confirms it. A councilwoman spoke. Aisu, you are out of line. Koen and you are both valuable to the village. What is this act of lunacy? Sodai did say you were exhibiting strange behavior lately. Aisu cut his eyes at Sodai. Of course he would say that. He really wants me dead. Now that I think about it, he's always wanted me dead. Aisu, I would leave now if I were you. Everything that was discussed here about you today is being confirmed by your actions, a member of the council stated. You were talking about me. Why am I the topic of conversation? Shouldn't we be concerned with keeping the peace with other villages? For someone who brought us the head of Hansa the Salamander and his bandits to say that is hypocritical. Not only did your antics make Rain an enemy, but we also have issues with the Leaf as well, an older male council member stated. Whose fault is that? You tried to kidnap the daughter of the Hyuga clan's leader. Did you not think that the Leaf would trust the Cloud after being stabbed in the back when the treaty was signed? What happened to the Hidden Cloud? Sodai, I've lost all faith in you. Aisu turned to walk out of the office, but was stopped when Sodai's voice rang throughout the room. Aisu, you're either with this village, or you are against it. It would be unwise to go against Cloud, Aisu. Don't do anything that you'll regret later. Aisu turned his head slightly. It's too late for that. Walking away from Sodai, Aisu knew that he would have to deal with him soon. His goal was to now take his family and flee. To where, he didn't know. He just knew that as long as Sodai was leading Cloud, the village would be the bullet for wars. I will not be a part of this. I'll take my family and flee. There are plenty of shinobi who share my dream. I'll seek them out. We will shape the world into a better place. I must get to Hana and Rado first. Aisu arrived at his home. When he stepped in the house, he was greeted by his wife and his 3-year-old son. Koen, who was staying with them, had Rado on his neck. Aisu looked at Koen. Good. Everyone's here. Hana, we're leaving this village tonight. Koen, you're more than welcome to join me and my family, but if not, I understand. If you do stay, apologize to Komoko and Kadan. I'm sorry for going back on my promise of making sure they become Chunin. Sensei, what's going on? Koen asked. Yes, honey, are we leaving our home? This village and its leader are not trying to prevent war. They're promoting it, so to speak. From the day I became a shinobi, my goal was to fulfill the promise that I made on my parents' grave to stop wars. But without fail, I have been responsible for them as well. Aisu, you haven't done anything. Hana, please. I know what I've done, but it'll be different. It'll be like how we talk. The difference is I'll be able to seek out people who share my views. The dream will be the same, just somewhere else. Are you sure this is what you want to do, Aisu? You know I'll be by your side. I'm sure. Let's pack our things and get out of here. Aisu kissed his wife, but both slowly pulled apart when the lights in their house went out. Aisu turned to Koen. Both you and Rado find safety. What's going on? Hana asked. They see me as a threat, so they've come to kill me. So it's come to this, Sodai. Stepping out of the shadows. The Raikage had an evil grin. So it would seem. You have no idea how happy I am. The council agrees with me that you're a threat to the village. Old friend, I gave you the option to either be with us or against us. Your blatant disrespect at the council room illustrated that you are not with us. Sodai, what are you doing? We're all friends here, are we not? Hana asked, shocked by what was going on. When shinobi from the elite bolt surrounded them, she had her answer. Hana, do you know how much I wanted you? You're too good for him and always have been. I don't know what you see in this guy and his delusional goal for peace on Earth. We are shinobi. As long as we exist, there will always be wars. Don't you get that, Aisu? To be honest, I never liked you, Aisu. I hated you from day one. You were Mr. Perfect, the shinobi that everyone wanted to be like, and the one everyone adored. I remember Jonin saying once that you would help this village prosper because of your talents. Always in your shadow. Always about you. You have no idea how happy I was when your 2 idiot teammates died. It gave me what I needed to turn the village against you. The 4-year absence was more than enough to take over the village. The third wanted to hand over the reins to Tosku, but Tosku wanted you to be the Raikage. You were absent, and they saw no one fit to lead but you, a man who was dead to all. When Tosku left the village, I seized my chance. and killed the old man, thus becoming the fourth Raikage. Puppets. The village became puppets. Sodai were like family. We wake up, Hana. He doesn't care for anyone but himself. He wants us dead. That's not true, Aisu. The fact of the matter is, I want you dead. I would never harm Hana, but you and that kid of yours will be wiped from existence, so we can start a family together, Hana and I. Sodai, you're mad. I'm sorry, Sodai, but I will not let you kill my son, or the man I love. I will never love you, Hana said as she slipped into a fighting stance. Sodai closed his eyes. So be it. I really do love you, Hana, but if I can't have you, no one will. As for you, Aisu, you will die here. Sodai appeared in front of Aisu, forcing him back into a wall. Seeing a shinobi place his sword within inches of Hana's neck caused him to move at a speed that he had never moved at. The bolt member was dead before he hit the ground. Aisu dodged a few more attacks that caused him to move from Hana's side. Hana was defending herself pretty well against the bolt members. She wasn't one of the best in Cloud for nothing. Doing backflips, Hana pushed off her hands and landed on one knee after she took a shinobi down. She turned to Aisu as he took down a bolt member and smiled. Returning the smile, Aisu's smile slowly turned into a look of sudden shock as his sword was placed through her back. Sodai ripped the sword from Hana. I'm sorry, Hana, but I gave you a chance to walk away from this with your life. Aisu was at a loss for words. All he saw was Hana fall over on her face with her arms sprawled out. 3 members of Bolt called themselves attacking, but black flames erupted around him and burned them to a crisp. Moving at speeds that surpassed his own, Sodai's eyes widened when he felt a sharp pain in his abdomen. Looking down, he saw Aisu looking behind him with a blank expression. The only words that escaped Aisu's mouth was, "Die, you bastard." In an upward motion, Dragon's Fang, which was poking through Sodai's back, ripped him in half. Aisu turned to look at all the remaining shinobi. All of their bodies dropped as slashes appeared all over their body. Looking down, he saw blood spilling from Hana's body. Kneeling down next to her body, he turned her over to see that she was still alive. Hana, hang on, I can get some help. I'm not gonna make it, Aisu. Don't say that, you're strong. I know this because it's one of the reasons I fell in love with you. Tears were falling down his eyes. I can't do this without you, Hana. Aisu, you'll do fine. Just make sure that Rado grows up to be like you, and he'll be fine. Aisu, I know your dream will come true. I'll be watching to make sure. Hana, please, I can get someone here. Aisu yelled at the top of his lungs. Someone, please help me! Hana touched his cheek. I've never seen you scared ever. Why now? Hana, just hang on, okay? Just hang on. For me. Don't be scared, Aisu. Everything will be okay. Even if I'm not here, I'll always be with you. Your parents' dream. Your dream. My dream. Our dream. Make it a reality. Don't give Hana went limp in his arms. Aisu only cried once in his life, when his family was killed. He was now crying for the second time in his life, and now was over his wife's death. Looking straight ahead while holding Hana's limp form, tears were streaming down his cheeks. Everyone he had ever cared about was dead. Aisu closed his eyes. When he opened his eyes, they were colder and much darker. The light that was in them was now gone. I will achieve my dream, Hana. I will not try to be peaceful in my approach. No, I will do it by force. From this day forth, I will crush anyone who stands in my path. War? So be it. I'll start a war that will make everyone fear another war. Today is a new day. No one will deter me from my goal. No one. The blue in his eyes morphed into a crimson red. The Aisu that everyone knew was dead. The new Aisu, the colder Aisu, was now born. End of flashback. Naruto calmly asked, "Where did it all go wrong for you, Aisu? From what you're telling me, your goal was very noble. The way you're pursuing it now just isn't noble. What about the kids that lost family because of your actions? What about the misery you've caused because of your so-called crusade? Tell me, Aisu, what were you thinking when you decided that people could no longer think for themselves? Naruto Uzumaki, you have to understand that I've seen what war can do, and what it has done. My whole life has practically been living in someone's war. I will not live in anyone's war. I will only live in mine, since I know I can end it any time I feel like. I fight to end it all. No more war. No more pain. As shinobi, we're taught to have no emotion. We're trained to be killers. Well, as shinobi, we also help people, but it seems that many have lost sight of what a shinobi is. Standing as the ruling power, I will redefine what a shinobi is. The new generation will not look to war as an answer. They will look for an alternative solution. You understand that war isn't an answer, but yet you stand before me instead of beside me, even after all I've told you. So be it. Jumping back about 30 yards, Aisu gripped his sword while black chakra began to dance around his body, slipping into his stance with his sword slightly above his brows. Aisu was preparing for his final move. He was preparing to use the Wicked Winds, Hell's Fury. The golden aura that encapsulated Naruto intensified. Aisu, you have your goals, and I have mine. I will not hold back. Your only chance is Heaven's Dance, Naruto Uzumaki, Aisu said as he continued to power up. To use Heaven's Dance would be to hold back. No, I will not use Heaven's Dance. I will finish this the way it should be finished. I will end it with God's hand, the ultimate and final technique of Heaven's Blade. Like I said, Aisu, it ends here for you. We will see, Naruto Uzumaki. We will see. The two warriors stood yards away from one another, one surrounded by darkness, while the other surrounded by light, preparing for their final attacks. Each had one thing in mind. That one thing was to win, at all cost. To be concluded.